Dinar shift, the financial shifts currently unfolding within Iraq's banking sector are not just making waves, they are genuinely astonishing global financial experts, analysts, and major economists alike. This moment is particularly captivating because the speed, audacity, and clear-headed confidence with which Iraq is progressing into the next stage of its long-anticipated currency reform and redenomination plan have dramatically exceeded nearly all external predictions. For an extended period, many in the global financial community dismissed these plans as either too slow to materialize, vague, or purely theoretical ambitions that would likely be delayed by ongoing domestic challenges. However, the events of late 2024 and early 2025 demonstrate a profoundly different reality, as actions once confined to private discussions or subtle hints are now being implemented transparently and publicly. The current structural overhaul marks the most significant and profound shift in Iraq's official currency strategy witnessed since the transitionary period of the early 2000s. The sheer scale of the changes underway compels a thorough re-evaluation of previous assumptions and predictions concerning the country's economic stability and future monetary strength. Our detailed examination will illuminate the core significance of these decisive actions, explaining precisely why international analysts are urgently recalibrating their forecasts and why the specific juncture is forcefully redefining the international conversation regarding the ultimate monetary value of the Iraqi dinar. This isn't merely a minor technical adjustment, it represents a major strategic pivot requiring deep focus to grasp the full implications of every piece of this unfolding narrative. The central development driving this global surprise is the systematic rollout of Iraq's currency redenomination. A complex procedure that many observers estimated would necessitate several years of preparatory groundwork is now rapidly taking verifiable form in 2025, demonstrating an impressive acceleration of the process. Redenomination is fundamentally more than simply printing new banknotes, it signifies a comprehensive restructuring of the entire national currency framework, engineered to substantially enhance its operational efficiency and ensure that its units accurately reflect the nation's true economic strength and purchasing power. The criticality of this phase cannot be overstated, rooted in the fact that these are not baseless rumors, fleeting speculations, or mere social media chatter, but tangible official steps taken directly by Iraq's highest governmental, banking, and monetary institutions. These institutional bodies are actively implementing direct, structural modifications that are unequivocally aimed at cultivating a more robust, streamlined, and highly functional dinar for both domestic and international usage. What has profoundly caught the international expert community off guard is not just the velocity of this deployment, but the evident precision and deliberate intent behind every move. Iraq is proceeding with a meticulously constructed plan, systematically modernizing critical national infrastructure. This includes upgrading sophisticated banking systems, installing new mechanisms in ATM networks nationwide, preparing a vast number of merchants and retailers to accept the impending new denominations, and engaging in comprehensive, step-by-step financial literacy education for its citizenry. This calculated, quiet, and strategic execution mirrors the globally recognized playbook for successful, large-scale currency transitions implemented by rising economic powers. When a nation undertakes such a profound and high-level modernization of its foundational currency system, the message conveyed to the global market is one of burgeoning stability and increasing inherent value, not economic fragility. This context is essential to understanding why the story has suddenly captivated the world and why the expert community is reacting with a noticeable degree of professional shock. We must now delve deeper into the reasons underlying this widespread astonishment from economic observers across the globe, examining the flawed assumptions that informed their previous skepticism. For many years, the prevailing analytical consensus suggested that Iraq would inevitably postpone significant currency reform until a much later date, citing a reliance on several major prerequisites that seemed far from fulfillment. These prerequisites included the cooling of long-standing political tensions, the complete elimination of systemic corruption, or the absolute completion of massive, long-term national economic infrastructure projects. Iraq, however, is now demonstrating a powerful ability to defy these long-held assumptions. Rather than passively waiting for Dela's perfect moment of external certainty, the nation is boldly proceeding with essential reforms that organically strengthen its financial system from within, actively reducing its historical dependence on outdated, inefficient structures. Leading economists are interpreting this assertive strategy as a substantial confidence move, a clear indicator that the Iraqi leadership possesses enough faith in the resilience and fundamental strength of its own economic foundations to restructure its national currency well ahead of achieving full, unassailable external political and security certainty. This is precisely where a significant number of international experts miscalculated the nation's readiness. While the global focus remained fixed on volatile political headlines and security issues, Iraq's underlying economy has been quietly and consistently stabilizing, strengthening its core financial metrics beneath the surface. The evidence of this quiet preparation is compelling. Oil production remains consistently stable, crucial non-oil economic sectors are showing discernible growth. Key international trade agreements have been steadily expanding, and critically, Iraq's foreign currency reserves are currently at their most robust levels in over a decade. The fact that the world was largely fixated on the visible political surface meant that the significant effort poured into constructing a modern, resilient monetary foundation went largely unnoticed by external analysts. This explains the genuine surprise sparked by the recent pace of redenomination progress. Iraq was not lagging behind schedule. The nation was diligently laying the necessary groundwork and preparing with meticulous care entirely behind the scenes, ensuring the foundation was solid before moving into implementation. Now, it is crucial to clarify the core concept of redenomination itself, as it is frequently misunderstood by the general public and certain commentators. Redenomination must not be confused with or equated to inflation, nor is it a desperate move symptomatic of a crisis. On the contrary, it is the precise opposite: an orderly, structured financial transition meticulously engineered to rebalance the entire currency, ultimately making all day-to-day commercial transactions significantly smoother and more manageable. Countries typically undertake redenomination when they aim to achieve a more realistic and proportional currency structure, characterized by lower denomination, more practical notes, and a financial system that seamlessly aligns with contemporary international banking standards and expectations. Iraq's current initiative to introduce these modern, lower-value denominations decisively signals a policy shift away from relying on the unwieldy high-value notes, such as the 25,000 or 50,000 dinar bills for basic, routine purchases. The clear objective is to cultivate a truly functional, modern, and efficient economy where citizens can efficiently pay for transportation, groceries, basic services, and retail goods using currency values that are logical and practical. Financial authorities globally recognize this move as a strong, proactive policy step, characteristic not of unstable or collapsing economies, but of genuinely rising financial powers that are consciously asserting their independence and stability on the world stage. The collective astonishment of the expert community stems from this powerful narrative shift. For the first time in many decades, Iraq is actively positioning itself not as a struggling, post-conflict nation requiring ongoing aid, but as an emerging regional financial power fully prepared to stand on its own solid economic and monetary footing. Adding significantly to the surprise is the parallel and rapid transformation of Iraq's entire digital banking infrastructure. Over the preceding year, the Central Bank of Iraq (CBI) has spearheaded the rollout of entirely new digital transaction systems, implemented sophisticated anti-fraud and anti-money laundering tools, and completed critical integrations with major international banking networks. The CBI's proactive approach involves supporting commercial banks as they adopt cutting-edge modern software, which simultaneously upgrades transaction security and seamlessly connects Iraq's financial system with vital global settlement networks. This high-level, systemic modernization is fundamentally critical, as any attempt at redenomination without simultaneous, robust system upgrades would inevitably lead to widespread financial disruption and chaos. Iraq intentionally avoided skipping this essential preparatory step. The country executed a comprehensive infrastructure upgrade first, and only then began the structured release of its new monetary framework. The financial world is particularly impressed by the sheer smoothness and minimal disruption with which these far-reaching updates are currently unfolding. Iraqi commercial banks are successfully transitioning to these sophisticated new systems with remarkably little operational friction. Furthermore, the national government is ensuring that citizens are well informed through systematic national announcements, and the extensive network of ATMs is being methodically updated to flawlessly accommodate the introduction of the new denominations and technical changes. For a financial industry that historically grappled with notoriously outdated infrastructure and legacy systems, this dramatic leap in technological modernization represents a monumental achievement, one that undeniably points toward a future defined by a stronger, more respected, and globally integrated currency. It is necessary to examine the reaction of the international expert community more closely, as many distinguished international analysts are now compelled to revise established financial models. Iraq's rapid and coordinated movements directly contradict a number of older, deeply entrenched predictions that were founded on outdated or incomplete assumptions. For instance, many analysts long insisted that Iraq required many more years of political and governance cleanup before it could realistically attempt such a comprehensive currency restructuring. However, the reforms now demonstrably unfolding reveal that Iraq has, in fact, already completed numerous essential prerequisites for this shift, often achieving these requirements quietly and outside of the global media spotlight. The foundational work included strengthening critical anti-money laundering legislation, significantly improving the country's fiscal reporting standards, instituting greater financial transparency across the board, and successfully tightening its control over often volatile foreign currency flows. Crucially, these transformative changes were implemented without much external publicity or fanfare, yet they were happening consistently. As the redenomination process now moves visibly forward, experts are confronting the realization that the essential groundwork has not only been initiated but has already been successfully laid. This development is prompting major institutions, ranging from economic research firms to global investment groups, to issue significantly updated assessments. They are now officially acknowledging that Iraq's currency reform is no longer a theoretical aspiration, it is demonstrably operational. When a massive structural reform achieves operational status, its trajectory becomes exponentially more difficult to impede or reverse. One of the most profound surprises to global observers is Iraq's increasingly strong and assertive stance on de-dollarization. Historically, Iraq's entire financial system was heavily reliant on the US dollar for managing pricing, settling trade transactions, and conducting business contracts. However, the nation has recently begun to implement strict new regulations explicitly designed to encourage, and in some cases compel, businesses and citizens to utilize the national dinar instead of the US dollar. Key policies include banning the use of the dollar in local commercial shops, imposing strict restrictions on dollar-based contracts for domestic transactions, and mandating that all local salaries be disbursed exclusively in dinar. These are far from minor, incremental changes. They represent national-level, seismic shifts aimed at restoring and asserting full monetary sovereignty for the dinar. What has truly surprised experts is the evident effectiveness and rapid public adoption of these de-dollarization policies. Citizens are visibly adapting their habits, businesses are swiftly adjusting their payment and contract methods, and the national banking sector is robustly supporting the transition. For the first time in decades, the Iraqi dinar is being consciously and successfully positioned as the mandatory, primary currency for all daily life and commerce across Iraq. This significant shift in domestic financial behavior is a major contextual reason why the redenomination efforts are now perfectly logical, and why leading analysts are scrambling to update their long-term currency forecasts. The essential takeaway is clear: Iraq is not merely preparing for currency reform, the country is demonstrably deep within the execution phase of currency reform. Another stunning factor adding to the experts' surprise is Iraq's strategic decision to increase its gold reserves and significantly strengthen its foreign currency buffer. During periods of economic stress or structural monetary transition, many nations typically see a decrease in their reserve holdings. Iraq has pursued the exact opposite path, significantly expanding its gold holdings, fortifying its currency reserves, and actively stabilizing its critical oil revenue streams through more efficient agreements. These actions collectively infuse the country with tangible financial confidence, which is an invaluable asset during any major monetary transition. When international experts reviewed the latest detailed data on Iraq's reserve strength, many expressed genuine shock at the robustness of the figures. Strong, verifiable reserves are a non-negotiable signal that a nation possesses the fiscal capacity to robustly support its currency, whether during the internal mechanics of redenomination or subsequent market adjustments. In the clearest terms, Iraq is not entering this monumental reform project unprepared or financially exposed. The country has meticulously strengthened its backing, secured its financial position, and is demonstrably ready to fully support a modernized dinar. This exceptional level of preparatory diligence is a rarity on the world stage and is a key reason why global financial analysts are now openly admitting that they profoundly underestimated Iraq's economic readiness for this ambitious undertaking. The heart of today's conversation revolves around the planned introduction of new note structures. While we cannot display images, the shift itself is highly significant. Iraq is preparing to release new denominations featuring advanced security standards, modern, clean designs, and critically highly practical note values. The reason currency experts are stunned is straightforward: the introduction of lower, more practical denominations traditionally signals the beginning of an entirely new monetary chapter. Countries do not create smaller notes unless they have a realistic expectation that those notes will possess meaningful, reliable, and functional purchasing power within the economy. When this specific development is viewed in alignment with Iraq's parallel de-dollarization efforts, extensive banking system upgrades, and significant reserve expansion, the overall strategic picture crystallizes into a powerful narrative. Iraq is fundamentally resetting the mechanism and function of its entire national currency. Analysts who previously dismissed Iraq's financial reform as either too gradual or too uncertain are now compelled to acknowledge that the nation is executing a meticulously coordinated, well-designed, and systematic strategy that unequivocally points toward a much stronger currency future. Furthermore, the reaction of Iraqi citizens is proving to be another major unexpected element. Many external analysts theorized that the public would meet the redenomination with resistance, suspicion, or widespread uncertainty regarding the impending changes. Instead, Iraqi citizens appear notably more hopeful, actively engaged, and remarkably open to embracing the transition. A significant portion of the Iraqi populace intuitively grasps that a modern currency featuring smaller, logically valued denominations inherently signifies both stronger and more reliable purchasing power and increased stability in their daily lives. People are proactively seeking information, attending public bank information sessions, and actively participating in national educational programs concerning the upcoming currency shift. What is truly surprising economists is that the level of public acceptance and cooperation is far higher than even the most optimistic predictions. This deep level of national cooperation significantly facilitates a smoother implementation process and dramatically reduces the potential risk of widespread confusion or public backlash. When the public actively embraces a major financial reform, that reform automatically gains powerful, self-sustaining momentum, and right now, that momentum is rapidly building across the entirety of Iraq. Viewing this historic moment from an objective external perspective, it is perfectly clear why experts are so stunned. Iraq is consistently meeting every single milestone established within a textbook redenomination timeline, but it is achieving these milestones at an accelerated pace and with demonstrably fewer obstacles than were widely anticipated. The necessary infrastructure is fully upgraded. The entire banking sector is centrally aligned. The citizenry is being informed in a structured way. The national government is unequivocally committed. And most importantly, the central bank is executing a clear plan that has obviously been under rigorous, confidential development for many years. The reason analysts are genuinely shocked is simple: they anticipated bureaucratic delays, public fear, and pervasive uncertainty. Instead, they are witnessing an administration moving with absolute confidence, precise coordination, and unwavering focus. This is the operational signature of a country methodically preparing to re-enter the global financial stage armed with a modern, stable, and highly respected national currency. This unprecedented domestic overhaul also necessitates an examination of the regional impact, which is another major dimension contributing to the expert astonishment. Iraq's actions are not occurring in isolation. The entire Middle East is currently undergoing a broad financial transformation. Nations across the region are actively seeking stronger national currencies, greater strategic independence from the historical dominance of the US dollar, and deeper, more robust intra-regional economic cooperation. Iraq's concurrent initiatives in redenomination and modernization perfectly align with and powerfully reinforce these broader regional trends. Neighboring countries are monitoring Iraq's progress with intense scrutiny because a stronger, more functional dinar has a direct and significant influence on cross-border trade settlements, oil contract structures, import strategies, and long-term regional investment flows. A number of respected regional economists have publicly suggested that Iraq's bold monetary move could very well serve as a powerful catalyst, potentially pushing other Middle Eastern nations to accelerate their own planned financial restructurings and modernizations. This ripple effect is profoundly important. When one major economy in a region successfully modernizes its currency system to global standards, competitive pressures often compel others to update their systems to maintain economic relevance and competitiveness. Iraq occupies a pivotal strategic geographical location, meaning that its core financial decisions directly affect Gulf nations, Turkey, Iran, and even key European trading partners. This is why global analysts are now paying such close attention. Iraq's redenomination is definitively not just a domestic policy adjustment. It is actively becoming a core component of a much wider regional shift in how the Middle East is collectively redefining monetary independence, achieving economic stability, and establishing new trade partnerships. Experts simply did not anticipate that Iraq would take the lead in one of the most significant and strategically important financial discussions of 2025 across the entire region. A further major reason for the analysts' surprise lies in the high degree of coordination between Iraq and global financial institutions. Over the past year, Iraq has systematically strengthened its channels of communication with international financial authorities, updated its compliance procedures across the board, and meticulously aligned its national banking standards to meet global expectations. This international alignment is critically important because any attempt at redenomination without simultaneous global compliance would inevitably create confusion, restrict acceptance, or introduce unacceptable transactional risks. Iraq, however, chose the strategic path. The nation focused first on achieving robust international cooperation and full compliance, and only then moved forward with the large-scale structural reforms at home. This deliberate sequencing paints an incredibly clear strategic picture. Iraq desires a currency that is not merely functional domestically but is actively respected, trusted, and fully accepted internationally. The global economic community understands this message perfectly. When a nation modernizes its foundational financial framework to seamlessly sync with the world's established international banking systems, it is signaling that its currency is preparing for significantly broader visibility, wider acceptance in trade, and increased credibility on the global stage. Financial experts were not expecting this advanced level of deep institutional coordination to be achieved as early as 2025, especially given the complex political and security challenges Iraq has navigated over the last 2 decades. Yet, we are now observing a nation rapidly restructuring its financial identity, with the clear support and oversight of some of the world's most influential and powerful financial organizations. Furthermore, the evidence of Iraq's underlying economic stability is another area where external experts were caught off guard and have been forced to revise their assessments. Despite the continuous political volatility that often dominates the media narrative surrounding Iraq, the quantifiable economic reality on the ground tells a distinctly different, more positive story. Iraq has been diligently strengthening its vital non-oil industries, actively promoting agricultural sector growth, expanding its national transportation networks, and strategically developing new international trade routes. These projects have collectively and slowly increased the nation's economic diversity, which is a key fundamental requirement for any successful currency redenomination and long-term stability. Even oil revenue, which remains Iraq's most robust economic pillar, has demonstrated significantly greater stability than anticipated. Higher, consistent production levels, the negotiation of more efficient, modern contracts, and stable global pricing agreements have all played a crucial role in boosting the country's overall financial confidence and providing reliable revenue streams. Many analysts seriously underestimated the sheer amount of essential economic progress Iraq had successfully made away from the media spotlight. They incorrectly assumed the economy was too structurally fragile or undiversified to support a major currency restructuring. However, with new reserve strength, increasingly diversified income streams, and upgraded financial systems, Iraq has convincingly demonstrated its capability to successfully undertake and complete this significant transition, forcing economic experts worldwide to recognize Iraq as a rising financial power. The strategy of the Central Bank of Iraq, CB itself, is yet another key reason for the widespread astonishment among experts. For many years, the bank often faced criticism for being perceived as excessively conservative or too slow to act decisively. Today, however, its approach is garnering significant praise for its discipline, strategic long-term planning, and unwavering vision. Rather than impulsively rushing into redenomination or reacting defensively to short-term political pressures, the CBI dedicated years to meticulously preparing the essential foundation. They strengthened banking regulations, thoroughly updated all critical systems, eradicated unstable or non-compliant practices, and ensured that the entire commercial banking sector was fully prepared for modernization. Now that the CBI has finally moved forward, the rollout has been characterized by exceptional smoothness, organization, and remarkably precise timing. This degree of disciplined, quiet preparation is what is highly admired by global financial experts. Many analysts had anticipated confusion, inconsistency, or internal operational struggles when Iraq finally embarked on redenomination. Instead, they have observed a high level of technical precision and strategic alignment. The CBI's deliberate, gradual, and methodical approach is now being widely recognized as a core reason why Iraq is succeeding in this monumental currency restructuring, leading analysts to label this reform one of the most well-prepared monetary transitions seen in recent years on the world stage. One of the most surprising and encouraging reactions observed by experts involves Iraq's youth and dynamic workforce. Younger generations within Iraq are demonstrably more technologically literate, significantly more aware of complex economic issues, and deeply connected to the global financial world than their predecessors. They are inherently familiar with digital banking interfaces, online payment systems, and contemporary international finance trends. This vital generation is enthusiastically embracing Iraq's new financial direction, a factor that many analysts did not fully incorporate into their models. When the redenomination officially commences, a technologically savvy younger workforce can inherently adapt much faster to new systems, which naturally translates to significantly fewer disruptions and a smoother overall transition. This is precisely what is currently being observed across Iraqi universities, commercial banks, and small businesses. Young Iraqis are proactively taking the lead in educating their elders, assisting with the adoption of new digital banking tools, and actively fostering national confidence in the country's profound monetary transformation. Analysts underestimated the crucial, accelerating influence the youth would have on the successful outcome of this complex reform. Instead of the predicted confusion or resistance, experts are witnessing a powerful wave of empowerment, seamless cooperation, and nationwide readiness. Let's now turn our focus to an element that has deeply shocked currency experts: the timing. The prevailing consensus predicted that Iraq would postpone the implementation of redenomination for several more years, citing likely political roadblocks, expected setbacks, or logistical delays. However, Iraq's highest leadership determined that 2025 was the strategically optimal moment. The rationale behind this timing is rooted in the successful, multi-year completion of several major requirements: full financial digitization, systemic infrastructure upgrades, the strengthening of national reserves, comprehensive regulatory improvements, and extensive public education campaigns. Once these crucial pillars were firmly established, the central bank was empowered to move forward with calculated speed. This precise timing also strategically aligns with broader regional currency discussions, the emergence of new global trade frameworks, and the powerful global shifts in how nations are valuing their monetary independence and sovereignty. Iraq's leadership recognized that any further delay would unnecessarily slow the nation's economic progress and artificially limit its access to new economic opportunities. By acting now, Iraq is strategically positioning itself ahead of regional competitors. This strategic decisiveness in timing is one of the key reasons analysts are stunned. They anticipated hesitation and delay, but instead observed a bold, calculated, and coordinated national action. Another crucial reason experts are paying exceptionally close attention is the profound psychological impact of redenomination. Currency value is never purely a quantitative calculation; it is intrinsically linked to national confidence and economic belief. When a nation's citizens fundamentally believe in the strength and stability of their own currency, they naturally use it more frequently, they are more inclined to save in it, and they are more likely to invest in the local economy, all of which substantially strengthens the entire financial system. Iraq is actively and forcefully working to restore this national confidence by introducing logical denominations, modern note designs, enhanced security features, and simplified, accessible banking procedures. Through these coordinated actions, Iraq is sending a clear and powerful message to its population: your national currency holds value. Your economy is rising. Your future is a worthy investment. Economists have been significantly surprised by how rapidly and deeply this message has permeated the public consciousness. Citizens are discussing the dinar in a demonstrably more positive context. Businesses are proactively preparing for the updated practices. Banks are cooperating smoothly with the reforms. This positive momentum is organic and driven by genuine conviction, not forced compliance. This degree of national confidence is precisely what financial experts look for as the clearest indicator of a successful currency transition, and Iraq is demonstrating it at the most critical juncture. The international investment angle is also a major source of expert astonishment. Analysts recognize that Iraq's currency redenomination is expected to significantly enhance the country's attractiveness for new foreign direct investment across key sectors, including energy, national infrastructure, agriculture, and high technology. A stable, modernized national currency simplifies international contracts, substantially reduces transactional risk for foreign partners, and significantly increases overall investor trust. Investors who once hesitated due to currency volatility and complexity now observe a country taking tangible, decisive steps toward guaranteed long-term financial stability. Economic experts know that redenomination alone does not automatically guarantee a flood of investment, but it is the essential catalyst that successfully creates the stable environment where investment can thrive and grow organically. That is precisely the robust environment Iraq is meticulously building. By consciously creating a predictable and modern financial framework, Iraq is powerfully signaling to the world that it is genuinely ready for serious, long-term economic partnerships. This signal is compelling and is a core reason why global financial observers are aggressively revising their long-term expectations for Iraq in 2025 and the years to follow. One final, major factor catching experts off guard is the high level of transparency throughout the entire redenomination process. Iraq, a nation that historically faced challenges with clear and consistent communication regarding financial policy, is now providing exceptionally clear guidance, frequent operational updates, and regular public information sessions nationwide. Citizens are being informed well ahead of major changes. Commercial banks are receiving detailed training, and businesses are being provided with step-by-step instructions. This level of communication transparency actively mitigates public fear and decisively prevents the spread of misinformation. Experts had fully anticipated widespread confusion or communication failures during a transition as logistically massive as redenomination. Instead, Iraq is demonstrating exceptional organization, absolute clarity, and firm control over the narrative. This unexpected level of professionalism is compelling analysts to acknowledge that the Central Bank of Iraq has visibly evolved into a far more structured, competent, and capable institution than many external observers had previously assumed. Clear, consistent communication is a foundational element of successful currency reform, and Iraq is delivering it in a manner that significantly exceeds professional expectations. As we bring this extended examination to a close, the core question remains: why are experts truly, fundamentally stunned by Iraq's progress? The answer is inherently simple and powerful. Iraq is achieving everything that the outdated external narratives claimed could not be done. They are successfully redenominating without descending into chaos. They are modernizing their systems without unnecessary delay. They are visibly strengthening their currency without provoking an immediate financial crisis. They are increasing national economic confidence without introducing instability. This sustained, high-level progress directly contradicts the old, established narratives that inaccurately painted Iraq as perpetually unprepared or financially unpredictable. Instead, the world is now observing a nation rise with remarkable structure, undeniable discipline, clear strategic vision, and renewed national confidence. Iraq's profound monetary transformation is actively reshaping the global financial conversation surrounding the dinar, and analysts are now universally admitting that Iraq is far more capable and significantly more prepared for this grand ambition than anyone had previously predicted. This historic moment confirms that Iraq is leading one of the most important currency reforms of this entire decade. Their redenomination strategy is modern, exceptionally well coordinated, and perfectly timed for their internal and regional goals. The national populace is actively engaged, the banking infrastructure is fully upgraded, the national reserves are stronger than ever, and a powerful national confidence is rapidly growing, creating an unstoppable momentum for change. The Iraqi dinar is now decisively entering an entirely new chapter of its monetary history, one that is being strategically built upon foundations of stability, extensive modernization, restored monetary sovereignty, and clear, long-term economic power. This is the new reality.